A very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube on
I don't know what you call
a
it.
fairly bland Tuesday afternoon in the Valley of Happiness. The all-you-can-eat wing buffet gets underway here at 4 o'clock as we go off the air this afternoon at Quaker Steak and Lube, our favorite place to be, our home away from home. Just a great menu, large menu, bunch of different items on there. Something that will meet everybody's taste. Of course, they are world famous for their wings, and their wings are, in fact, to die for. Again, the all-you-can-eat wing buffet gets underway at 4 o'clock. Also have great beverages, both the adult kind and the other versions for those that don't partake in the adult beverages, but some great beer selections down here. And again, the best staff. That is just a fact that you will find in our area. All right, a bunch of things, Goon, that we can get into today. Let's just start with the win and how cool that celebration was for Terry Smith and for the players after more than 2 months between victories, everything that has happened. I get that in the overall annals of Penn State history, that win over Michigan State is not going to rank very highly in all-time great wins. But, man, in the moment, what a special moment it was for Terry Smith and for this year's team and everybody associated with that program that's gone through everything they've gone through this year.
Yeah,
just a cool moment.
absolutely it was. Watching Terry out there, and then having Terry in the his press conference on Monday. We'll get to that, but I mean, you're looking at Saturday and how the players reacted to him. They're playing for him. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have nailed it in like they did on James a little while ago, and they didn't do that. They haven't done that, and he has fought for them, and he is. It was a hell of a win out there. I mean, he says he got 500, 600, 800 text messages from people celebrating him, congratulating him. The one I did send him was, I said, congratulations, 408 more.
There you go.
Yeah. And he gave me one of those,
Let's get her done.
Laughing my ass off emojis, like, yeah, I don't think he's in for that long of a haul. No, but, it's just, he's worked so hard to keep these guys together, and he got those guys balling out there. And it didn't start off well. I mean, they could have packed it in early. I mean, they didn't play that well right off the gate. I mean, and then they came back and did what they had to do on offense and defense. And you got to give Terry a lot of credit for that. You got to give the seniors a lot of credit for keeping these guys together, keeping these guys playing. And there's 2 more left, plus a possible bowl. What a better way to finish off the season. A horrible season, one that everybody wants to forget about. Then with a couple wins for Terry and. And we got to see. I mean, Terry was talking about his press conference yesterday. He hasn't interviewed for the job per se, but every Saturday he's interviewing for the job. He's trying to keep this team together. So he's doing that interview that way. But I talked to my radio show last night, the Players Show. I was just like, you got to find a spot for him. If it's not the head coach, which I doubt it would be, I mean, would I be happy with it? Yeah, I'd be very happy with it. I'd be quite happy with it. I mean, you can debate this, but give the guy a 2-3 year deal and say, hey, what do you got here? It's just a tough year right now to go out and get a coach right now. I mean, there's Florida, Auburn, LSU, UCLA, Arkansas. All these bigger name jobs are open. So if we're going to get somebody, it's going to cost us a lot of money. So I mean, what do you do? Do you think we give Terry a couple years and say, hey, can you continue this, or do we move on? And if we do move on, my feeling with Terry is you need to make him we got to find a position for him where he is with these kids and bridging the gap between the old and the new.
Yeah, there's a whole lot to, I guess, dissect and digest in terms of the coaching search, and I've been listening to a lot of the discussion this week, both locally and nationally. And no matter what direction you go, there are to me, more questions than definitive answers. And given that, I've kind of changed my position a little bit, to be honest with you. I really didn't think there was much of a chance of Terry Smith being the coach. And I don't think the betting odds, if I was creating the betting odds, it would not be on Terry Smith. But I got to tell you, Goon, one of the things that I understand why people are saying what they're saying, and it does make some sense, but it's also not, in my opinion, a reason to hire a particular coach. And what I'm talking about is this. I'm listening to a lot of discussion that, well, going and getting a current head coach, the advantage to that is because you're likely going to lose a lot of your current roster no matter what. And by bringing in a current head coach, they will likely bring a good chunk of their roster with them. There's two issues with that for me. One is, if for example, if it's Eli Drinkwitz, let's just to play out a hypothetical here, and nothing more, just a hypothetical. But okay, well, Missouri has had a good season, not a national title contending season. They've been a good team. Bringing that roster, it doesn't, or a good chunk of that roster, doesn't assure anything in terms of success next season. And regardless of whether you're assured success or relatively assured success next season or not, next season to me is almost as irrelevant as this season in terms of where this thing goes right now. You need to get the coach that you think, again, can build this thing quickly into a national title contender. Now, could an Eli Drinkwitz do that with a largely current Missouri roster? Maybe. Chesney can do that. Bobby Chesney can do that with James Madison.
Yep.
It's people are, James Madison, come on. Well, what do you think Signetti did there at Indiana? And to that end, if it is somebody like Chesney, again, there's going to be people that are no matter who you bring in, there's going to be people that, all right, that's great. This is the right hire. And there's going to be other people that, oh, man, I can't believe like Chesney hasn't. How's he going to do in the Big Ten? Well, you don't know with any of these guys, including if you got a current successful Big Ten head coach. Again, Ryan Day, I realize that's not going to happen. I'm just saying the circumstances are different. Everything about it, there's a different chemistry. It may work. It likely would work in some of these cases, but in some of them, again, for whatever reason, it may not work. And sometimes you're left scratching your head even after a situation resolves itself. Like, I'm still not sure if we're ever going to kind of really know why this thing went as off the rails as it did. Maybe we'll get some more clues here. Maybe more people will be willing to talk more about it in this offseason. But for that thing to go from feeling like they were on the cusp of winning a national title to, boy, we hope they can rally and win these final couple of games and get a bowl offer, is just, it's nuts to me still. But I don't like the idea. I think Pat Kraft, and I think he will, but I think he's just got to sit back and assess everything and make the hire based on what he feels like can be long-term. And again, I use long-term now. It's 3 years. Long-term success. But I mean, I don't think you're making the hire with the idea of, all right, next year needs to be the end-all be-all. That to me would be absurd. And if that were the case, that, hey, we've got to take advantage of like the truly win now, like right now mentality. To me, keeping Terry Smith would be the most logical thing to do, because that's going to keep, I think, most of this roster together.
That's
I
my
think most
question
of these
gonna be to
guys
you.
would stay and play for him. Now, the caveat to all of this is, with James Franklin now heading to Virginia Tech, taking that job, this adds another dynamic, which we knew was likely coming. But the fact that it is now Virginia Tech, and it is largely a very similar recruiting footprint that they're looking to delve into, and the relationship that James Franklin has with the players on this roster and with the coaches currently at Penn State. Again, if it became a Terry Smith, and I think this is still unlikely, but just play it out. If it does become, all right, Terry Smith is our guy, first of all, if that is going to be the case, and Scott Geezy, my co-host on the morning show, made the case, his bold prediction is that Penn State, if it beats Nebraska, that Pat Kraft does come out next week and say, yep, Terry Smith is our guy. We're removing the interim, and we move forward with it. If Terry Smith were, in fact, your guy, I do think making that announcement like next week makes a ton of sense, because then it gives immediate stability. You start, again, internally. Again, I think there will be some guys torn. It's like, oh, man, if James Franklin reaches out.
Player-wise.
Correct.
Staff-wise.
And staff-wise,
too.
Yes. And personnel across the board wise. Like, so there's still, but at least, okay, now you know who the guy is in charge at Penn State. And I think that gives you at least some sense of stability. And all right, let's see what this thing looks like moving forward. The Brian Hart line is getting a lot of discussion. I am okay, by the way. Any of these make sense, and it's fun discussing it and playing out the hypotheticals. We all realize at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what our speculation is, what our arguments are for or against various individuals. The hire is going to be made, and then everything else that comes in place after that will happen. There's a lot of talk about, well, they have to keep Terry Smith on the staff. I don't think they have to do anything. Do I think it would be smart? And if they can, and do I expect that they will? Yes. But again, if you hire John X, just to get it out of and Johnny X comes in and says, listen, I am going to build a winner, but I need to do it with my guys. I know. Well, then, to me, now it's got to be part of the discussion here, right? I mean, Pat Kraft and the future coach, like there has to be enough discussion about what the future looks like that they are on the same page and they're okay with whatever it is looking forward. Would I like to see, and do I think it would make some sense for some staff members to stay, some of the coaches to stay? Yes. But do I think it's a prerequisite? No, because if you get, again, a Kurt Signetti type that comes in and he has something that is working and he's comfortable with everybody and he's like, no, I want, well, then that's, to me, that's the road you're going down, and you got to go. Now, there's enough with the way football works today and the number of people that are on staff. Again, I can't really envision the scenario where an incoming coach is like, nope, there's no way, absolutely not. Terry Smith's out of here. Like that, maybe that scenario is out there. That doesn't make any sense. Here you have a guy that is really well connected, obviously loves the program beyond measure. Like, you're finding a pretty good spot for that guy. And I think in any reasonable scenario you can play out, that is very likely what will happen, and very likely that at least a couple of staff members will be offered the opportunity to stay.
Correct.
A bunch of different things that are in play here. Again, the James Franklin to Virginia Tech move is really interesting because it does add another complicating dynamic to everything that is surrounding Penn State football right now. And there are going to be pluses and minuses no matter what direction you go, right? The minus with Terry Smith is, all right, well, one, we don't know how he'll do as head coach long term. We outside don't know what a staff for him would look like. Even with Ryan Hartline, and I'm listening and watching and reading different discussions, and it's like, well, Hartline would bring in this guy and this guy from Ohio State. Well, maybe. Again, we're presenting this like it's a fact.
Yeah.
I don't know what changes Terry Smith would make to the staff if he was hired. Presumably, that would be something that would be, again, talked about, ironed out. Hey,
sure.
I've seen these guys up close. This guy can coach. This guy, I am concerned about. Whatever it may be. Maybe he keeps the entire staff. Oh, no, Ironhead. Well, maybe with different leadership at the top, maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't. Again, I'm not arguing one way or the other. I'm just saying there are so many different moving parts, and there are so many different ways this could or could not work out. I think we have seen too many times where a prominent head coach makes the move to another program, and people, all right, well, we have an established winner. Now we can move forward. Now here we go. And then, no, you don't go. And, I mean, we have numerous examples of that. We also have, perhaps, in Mike Elko, we'll see how the season finishes out, an example here where, hey, that did work. That does make sense. Now, they went through some rough times to get there. It wasn't that Elko came in and boom, voila, there's A&M undefeated competing for – no. They went through some growing pains, assessment period.
Yes, they did.
But, yeah, it is looking, at least at the moment, very, very promising for Texas A&M. Now, I don't think a lot of fans would have signed up and said, yep, Elko is definitely our guy at halftime Saturday against South Carolina. So I guess I'm at a point where I think there are arguments to be made all over the place, valid arguments. I'm not even saying that they're not valid, but we have a lot of examples of guys who, well, they have no head coaching experience, and that's the biggest knock I'm hearing against Smith or Hartline. And as we've talked about, Ryan Day didn't have any head coaching experience. Yeah, seems to have worked out okay. Dabo Sweeney didn't have head coaching experience. Yeah, I think that worked out all right for Clemson. Kirby Smart. I mean, you go right down the list, Goon, and the number of coaches from Scott Frost to Lincoln Riley to, and again, some of these are, the story is still being written, and I understand that, and I'm not saying they can't be successful. But I am telling you that what the alumni base and the administrations were envisioning, it didn't happen certainly as quickly as what they were thinking in many, many, many cases here of head coaches moving from one program to another.
Yeah, I mean, you're like giving these names out in my head. I'm like, Elko came from Duke, right?
Yep.
Went to Texas A&M. Manny left here, replaced Elko. I mean, and then I'm like, oh, wow, I haven't even thought about Manny in the last few days. Is his name still even there? Have you seen his name being thrown around like it was the last couple of weeks?
I have
it's
not,
crazy.
and I do, yes, and I'm surprised that he's. And again, these are names that are being thrown out. We don't know what is or isn't actually being discussed here.
That's amazing.
With Pat Kraft, and so again, it's fun to speculate. I think no matter what name you throw out. Again, there are people that are going to make reasonable arguments about why that is not the right hire. I think people will make reasonable arguments about, oh, yeah, that would be a good get. And the truth is, Pat Kraft is going to do everything he can, due diligence and all of that. You don't know. You go on some level, it is going to be a gut feel for Pat Kraft. Now, it's not going to be just a gut feel. I get it. You're going to have somebody that has laid out, hey, this is how I'm envisioning this. This is the plan I want to execute. This is how I see the recruiting going. All of those things. But everybody has a plan, right? And does that plan actually get carried out? And then even if it gets carried out, does it actually result in what everybody wants that plan to result in? And as we keep talking about, Goon, I think there is a segment of the fan base that just thinks, you get a guy that knows how to recruit and he knows X's and O's, and voila, Penn State's winning national titles. Well, again, Ryan Day and Ohio State aren't going anywhere. Kirby Smart in Georgia, Alabama, whatever happens here with DeBoer, Alabama's not going anywhere anytime soon. And you have a bunch of other programs that are also, hey, we got to make this push. We got to be. And then you have the Johnny Come-Latelys, the Texas Techs of the world, that they're not going anywhere anytime soon either. The NIL component has changed the landscape. And so you have, a handful of additional teams that are going to be also all in trying to compete for national titles. And it is a critical hire, and I don't know what direction they will go. I'm not even sure what direction they should go. I'm really not.
I honestly, I have zero idea. I mean, I have zero idea to the point where we don't even know if Terry wants to be the head coach. He has said that he would interview and this and that, if, that type of thing. He took the job over, but I don't think he's specifically come out and said, I want to be the head coach of this team going forward. Has he? I don't think he has. I mean, there's been questions, has he interviewed, will he interview type of thing, but I don't know if he's ever really specifically come out and said that he wants to, be the next head coach here. I want him to stay here, and whether that's in the head coach capacity, whether that's a liaison between the athletic department or on the field coach. That's all what Terry wants to do. And again, my faith is in Pat. In knowing that, I think he's a very cool customer and a smart guy. He's not going to let this get over his head. I think he's had a plan since they did fire James, and the plan was, it will go into effect. But obviously, it's somebody who's coaching still. I think. I mean, have we deducted that, or have we, me and you have sort of had these arguments every Tuesday and Thursday if it's John Gruden, it's Urban Meyer, or Nick Saban, I mean. Yeah, they're going to come out of retirement, and then so you're not going to keep losing recruits, is what I was saying before. But it may, and they may need to hammer out a better deal. I don't know, but it just seems like Pat's he has a timetable, and it's a really screwy. I mean, it's not on Pat; it's just the way the NCAA is set up now with the transfer portal. So that's the National Letter of Intent Day is Wednesday of 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from tomorrow was the National Letter of Intent Day. 4 days after we play Rutgers in our last game. Will we have a head coach by then? I don't know. Are you just going to lose all these recruits? We just lost the Brown kid from Harrisburg. I just saw he committed to West Virginia on the McAfee show. Me and my wife were having lunch here, and she said, "Why is this kid doing this?" I said, "Well, McAfee's from West Virginia, and the kid's father went to West Virginia. I guarantee he's transferring, or he broke his commitment to Penn State, and now he's going to go to West Virginia." But is that locked in stone?
Nope, nothing is.
Nothing.
So
we may hire somebody, and the kid Brown might be like, "Hey, I want to come back to Penn State," Which is I don't understand, why did he leave his commitment? Why are guys jumping out of their commitments because we don't have a coach yet? I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just uncharted territories, one for us, for sure. This whole thing, in-season firing.
And I do love the speculation. And again, it's all we can do. And I get it. Shane writes, and we don't know any of this, but Shane writes, Ryan Day will most likely go to the NFL. I don't know if it's most likely. It is certainly possible. And Hartline would be promoted to head coach. Well, would he? Marcus Freeman would seem like a pretty good target if you're Ohio State right now. And I don't know that Hartline would be promoted. I would say the odds, I mean, right now, if, and I think it's an if, Ryan Day does leave Ohio State, to me, the first call Ohio State's making is Marcus Freeman. And I think Marcus Freeman is listening pretty intently, would be my guess. And so I don't think the potential of Ryan Day going to the NFL would preclude the possibility of Ryan Hartline coming to Penn State. And in some ways, I guess if Day is in fact leaving at the end of this year, this season, even then, again, to me, Marcus Freeman would be the more likely candidate there, and all the more reason for Hartline to take an opportunity at Penn State. But if it isn't this year, again, I think that's a legitimate question: is Hartline better served by staying another year? If the head coaching at Ohio State is what's in his heart, and I don't know that for certain either, but if that's what is in his heart, I think it's debatable whether staying as OC another year under Ryan Day would be more advantageous than coming to Penn State and taking a head coaching job and proving your mettle there. I could make that debate, that argument either way. I think it's a legitimate debate, but I think if the reason Brian Hartline is saying, nope, I'm not going to listen to Penn State because I know I'm going to be the next head coach at Ohio State. I mean, maybe unless something's been guaranteed there, and I just find it almost impossible to believe that would be the case, then I think you've got to be looking at your options while they are there. If you're Brian Hartline,
not a job I want. Finding this whole thing has been crazy, man, from top to bottom, all across the country, not just here. I mean, you're looking at Florida, LSU, Auburn, Arkansas, UCLA, all mid-season firings. It's like they don't give the guy, like you said, you used to have a 5-year window. Now you got 3. You got a 3-year window, and if it's not happening in the third, they're gonna dump you, and they're gonna go from there.
And then again, I think it becomes a challenge I think a lot of these programs end up chasing their tails, and I think it is. I know that you don't want to give. I don't want to give Michigan credit. Michigan's patience with Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Listen, and that was a guy. I mean, patience again is also a relative term. I get it. It was like 4 years but I'm saying there was a large clamor within the Michigan fan base. Man, we got to move on. Like, he cannot beat Ohio State. We're not getting into the top 4. Then it clicked, and it took a while. It was year 5, year 6. Well, okay. Again, we're in this era where it's, man, we got to have the immediate results. And working against somebody that wants to be a little patient is that Penn State schedule. And on the surface, right, it's like, oh, man, you look at that schedule next year, and we'll go over, we'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll go over that schedule next year. It's like, oh, man, yeah, give me that opportunity. Except that with that schedule, again, regardless of what happens here, on whoever the coach is, and whatever recruits come in, whatever transfer portals players come in and leave on both fronts, I mean, the expectation is going to be, yeah, but look at this schedule. You got to still win 9 games anyway. I mean, come on. And that's where I think it is going to be a huge challenge for whoever comes in. And it's a huge challenge for everybody everywhere. I mean, I get that right now in college athletics.
Look how fast it turns around. Look at Elko at Texas A&M. They got rid of Jimbo Fisher. They were 3-9, whatever. They were horrendous. They paid him off, got rid of him, and Elko comes in there, and 2 years later, look where they're at right now.
Yep.
It's amazing. So it's how quickly and fast it can turn. Rob, I'm with you on the Clemson, Texas, and Penn State thing. I don't know what the hell happened. I mean, and you can throw LSU in there too. I think that, the preseason, my friend's an LSU fan, so what's his name on game day? Old Lee Corso picked the LSU versus Penn State in the national title game.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's 4 of those schools right there. With 4 of those 5 schools that are mentioned as preseason favorites are not even going to make the playoffs. And 3 of them need head coaches. Just insane. Just crazy, man. But like I said, look at Elko. Look how fast Texas A&M turned around. Look how fast Texas Tech turned around. Or Texas A&M, Texas Tech, all these schools. And it's all about the NIL money, man. You get the money in there, you get the recruits, and, get the players.
Yeah, but it's not just that.
Yeah, you gotta have it. You gotta have it. It's gotta be. They actually had the same thing at Texas A&M 4 years ago when Jimbo got fired, when they had the highest NIL money of the country, and they still stunk and they got rid of all the players, and it can go both ways. So you gotta it's a lot of stuff that has to go right. A lot of questions,
man. And we're in an era where it can go right and you can turn it around quickly, and it also can go very, very wrong, as we have seen this season. Not just here, but elsewhere. And we'll get to some of the comments when we come back here. We will take a break and we will continue. It is our Tuesday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
This region is known for its winding forest roads and scenic wild beauty. And there's one vehicle that's as rugged as Happy Valley. It's the Kia Telluride from Lion Country Kia. Hurry in now and check out the all-around rugged 2025 Tellurides. Lion Country Kia has the spacious 7-seater SUV with as low as 2.99% financing for 60 months or a $1,500 Kia finance rebate. There's 19 Tellurides in stock ready to go, starting at only $43,145. Be sure to check out the entire Kia lineup at Lion Country Kia. There's 91 new Kias available. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Who trusts Lion Country Kia? Mitchell Messenbrink trusts Lion Country Kia. And you should too. Lion Country Kia. 1334 Drabble Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again.
The Fox, your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America. 98.7, The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back on a Tuesday afternoon as Penn State gets ready for the home finale. By the way, 7 o'clock kickoff Saturday night at Beaver Stadium for senior night festivities.
Feelings on that?
For the Nittany Lions. Will be interesting to see how many kiddos show up. Thanksgiving break does begin Friday, basically. Last day of classes are Friday, and then they're off for the week. How many students stick around for a night game?
My niece is
Saturday.
I know some other people who are coming up to get their kids, but they're getting them Friday and leaving. And then I got a couple of my brothers coming in. He said she wants to go to the game, and they'll all be at the game Saturday night. Has there ever been this late of a game on this late in the season at Beaver Stadium?
Yes. Yeah. The last 10 years we've had
night games in late November.
Yeah. We've had a few of them here in the last 10 years. Didn't used to be that way, but yeah.
I'm racking my brain here. I mean, think about it for like 3 days now.
Who would have thought 6 months ago that we would be having this head coach conversation all summer long? Median polls said the Final Four would be Penn State, Texas, Clemson, and Ohio State. Where did everyone go wrong? Not only Penn State, but Texas and Clemson took that big dive. What went wrong? Why was everyone so far off? Here we are now, James Franklin gone and Dabo hanging in there by a thread. What happened? Well, one thing that happened is sports. It is not that unusual for folks to get it wrong when it comes to predicting in the preseason champions. And by the way, there are people that are making predictions now that we've seen 10, 11 weeks of the season unfold, and they're still going to be wrong. Right? Right now we're looking at Texas A&M's a national title contender. Well, halftime Saturday they didn't look like a national title contender. Now we're rightfully giving them credit. They rallied. It was an incredible second half, but that first half did still happen, and that was still a not very good South Carolina team, which, part of it is, and I think it's coming down to the college level more so now than it has previously, which is interesting because I got that wrong. I thought the gap was going to widen here between the haves and the have-nots, and it still may long-term, but certainly short-term, that is not the case. We're seeing as many or more upsets or near upsets than we have in recent years in college football. And again, NIL is part of the equation there, part of the story for sure, but not the entire story. And there's a lot of things that are going on there. But let's see, first of all, how the season does play out, who all ends up in the playoffs, and then what actually happens in the playoffs. Because I think there's still a lot of things that could play out. Everybody is rightfully, and I'm among them, giving Indiana all kinds of credit. Well, if Indiana goes out and gets blown out, and I don't think this will happen, but I'm just saying, if Indiana goes out and gets blown out by Ohio State and then gets into the playoffs and gets blown out in the first round, well, again, Indiana was a great story for a second straight year, and also the national narrative is going to be, well, yeah, but, I mean, they're not actually one of the big-time programs. Now, opposite of that is true. If they win that game over Ohio State, they go out and get to the Final Four, even if they lose in a close game there, all of a sudden, yeah, we're talking, well, Indiana is now one of the powerhouses and will be viewed that way until proven otherwise in the Big Ten. But there's still, perception-wise, a lot on the line here for Indiana over the course of the next month or so.
Sure it is.
And same thing, Texas A&M. You go right on down the line. I mean, Ohio State and Michigan. If Ryan Day loses to Michigan again,
yep.
And I don't think it'll happen, but I have never been so sure of an Ohio State win in that series as I was going into last year's game. After last year's game, well, I think Ohio State will win. I certainly don't have as strong a feeling about it this year as I did going into last year's game, in part because of what happened last year. But again, there's a lot of things that can still play out. As to what happened, I don't know. Again, I do think the NIL stuff, just a gut feeling, I think it played a role here in not a good way for Penn State. And I don't have anything to definitively back up my belief in this, so I can't sit here and tell you, yep, this player and that player, they got more complacent. I'm just telling you, my belief,
yep,
and it's just that, is I think some of those guys, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, I don't even have anybody in mind. It's not that I know who it is and I'm not telling you. I think there had to be some complacency here that factored into this. Again, the James Franklin contract thing may very well have played into it.
That's where I'm going. That seems to be the weird thing that happened.
Yeah.
And it just soured the relationship between Pat and James to the point where the players saw it. I don't know. Did the players see it? The players know about it?
Feel it, yeah.
And then they were like, well, they lose to Oregon. They lose it in the double overtime. And now it's your time. I mean, again, I'm talking about Alabama before. They got 2 losses now. They're still in the playoff. We lost to Oregon, but we still had everything to play for.
Yeah.
And then the effort that was given out against UCLA and then Northwestern back-to-back weeks as 20-plus point favorites, that was the death knell for James, in my opinion, because I just think that the players stopped playing for them. They stopped playing for him. I don't know. Did he stop coaching on them? I don't know. It just seemed like that UCLA game, his first opening comment was, we never got over that Oregon loss. Like, Coach, that's on you, man.
Yeah.
If you felt that way going in, you had to have hammered these guys about that. Don't let that happen. Obviously, it did happen, and my Lord, I mean, just, again, look at where we're at, man.
Well,
it's just, wow.
The other thing is, again, going back to my comparison with the NFL, is that there is a fine line between winning and losing. And you look, I mean, Terry Smith talked about it the first week after he was appointed the interim head coach. So, he said the ball bounced our way, Penn State's way.
Last year.
You look, yeah. And I mean, the USC game was certainly could have gone either way. Minnesota could have. I mean, there's a bunch of games. You go back and look at it, it's like, ooh, you know what? That could have turned out differently. Now, we properly, I think, gave Penn State credit. Hey, you found a way to win. Texas A&M, you're going to look back on this season. Well, I mean, that South Carolina game, again, all credit to the Aggies. They found a way to win it for sure. But again, a field goal.
Yep.
That go well, then that goes the other way. And then we're talking about what a devastating loss that is for Texas A&M.
I do want to talk about this real quick.
Yeah.
Tebow hammering on game day this past weekend about Indiana struggling against a bad Penn State team. I hope he's going to give Texas A&M a bunch of crap too for struggling against a bad South Carolina.
Exactly.
And exactly right. Isn't that just drive you crazy?
Well, yeah, but that is the epitome of the SEC bias, because what they'll tell you is, well, that's South Carolina. That's how deep the SEC is. Whereas, again, I actually think, and there is the national narrative that while the Big Ten is top heavy, the SEC is more balanced. And I'm just not sure I buy. Well, actually, I am sure that I don't buy it. Listen, I think Northwestern is a good football team, not a national title contender, not anything along those lines. But I think they're a tough out. I think they are a good, hard-nosed football team. I think Iowa is a really good, hard-nosed football team. I think Wisconsin has gotten a lot better. I don't think they're a great team by any stretch, even now. But yeah, I think they've figured some things out. I think they're playing much better. I think they're a good team. I think across the board, and I don't know that those middle of the road teams in the SEC. I think Mississippi State's good, but I think Mississippi State's like substantially better than a Northwestern, or no, I don't. No. And without them playing each other, I can have my opinion. They can have theirs. Neither of us is going to be proven right, but I do think that the idea that the SEC is up here in terms of the overall depth and the Big Ten is down here, I'm just not buying it. I don't think that's the case. I think they both have some really good teams at the top. I think they both have some really solid teams, a lot of solid teams through the middle, and I think both conferences still have some teams that are struggling pretty mightily at the end of the day.
They know how to take care of their own with the rankings.
That is true.
They know how to do it. Where I'm telling you, the Big Ten still does not understand it.
Yeah.
You need to have everybody as ranked as high as you possibly can, because that makes your victories look that much better.
Yeah. And listen, I mean, there's a bunch of things that factor, going back to, what happened, where did everything go wrong? How were the experts this off? There are, so again, the margin between winning and losing is not as great as I think we like to think it is in college football. I think the chemistry component is still a big deal, Goon. And again, I don't know exactly where things went awry here for Penn State. I'm not sure where things went awry for Texas or Clemson either. And I'm not sure, it could be that just all three were overrated, that the talent, again, that the ball bounced Penn State's way a little bit last year. Texas got some bounces maybe last year, and now, things are evening out as at least part of the equation.
I did say one thing, and I said that Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter were pretty damn good players to lose.
Yeah, but listen, I think you look at the NFL. Well, it's a given. We know the Chiefs are going to be good. Everybody that they're returning a lot of people, and they have
5-5 out of the playoffs.
As long as you have Mahomes, well, yeah. Did Andy Reid forget how to coach? Mahomes forgot how to play quarterback. Injuries are part of it. The Tony, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you, yep, Penn State would have been playing for a national title if not for the Rojas injury. But do I think the Rojas injury impacted that defense and the way it's played? Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. Part of it is, and I haven't done a deep dive on all of the rosters and all of the programs across the country. But again, injuries at key spots can be a factor. in this. Sometimes you get a surprise player on the positive, a Mendoza for Indiana. I think they thought they had a good quarterback. I don't know that even maybe Kurt Cignetti will tell you he did know, but I'm wondering whether they thought they had a guy that looks like he could rightfully hoist the Heisman here at the end of the year. So sometimes it's, you get good things happening the other way. It's, this is a pleasant surprise. Or you find the diamond in the rough. Maybe you knew what you had, but not a lot of people going into the season thought that was going to be the case.
Let's talk about Cignetti here. So you're talking about Chesney coming out of JMU again. So say he takes a big job. I think that he's heavily favored for the UCLA job.
That's what it's.
How many people are still at JMU that Cignetti didn't bring out?
Well, that's what makes what Chesney's done remarkable.
I mean, people are like, he comes here, he's going to bring a bunch of players with him. I don't think he has that many players, unless they're just that good at coaches down there. They're doing a heck of a job and recruiting well, man.
Yeah, no, he's got a pretty good team, pretty good roster.
For the second year.
They could end up being in the playoffs here.
I know, it's crazy.
Madison. All right, back to the comments. Lose 3 and you're fired, Lane Kiffin quote from this morning, Pat McAfee.
It was a great comment.
So, listen, the expectations at the so-called blue blood programs are absurd. The idea that you can't have a season where you have 3 or 4 losses or where things go again a little off kilter, or even God forbid 2 years where Alabama, if they miss the playoffs again this year, I don't think they're going to, but if they did, I mean that'll be looked at as the end of the world. Well, it's 2 seasons and you're building up your program here if you're Caleb DeBoer. So I mean, yes, with a lot of fan bases, that is where we're at, and quite frankly, with a lot of administrations. Again, a lot of money involved, and with that comes the expectations and the pressures. And it is a results-oriented business. In that way, it is becoming more and more like the NFL as well. If you say a 3-year window, obvious you need a head coach who has built a championship team, hire an Urban Meyer, make Terry Smith the GM, replace the staff, bring in all Meyer's people. Well, again, if Myers had any interest, that might be worthwhile. I'm not at all convinced that there is any interest there from Urban Meyer. So,
I don't think Terry would be a good GM either.
Yeah, we've had a couple people mentioning that. We had it on our morning show today, too, folks mentioning Terry Smith as a GM. I'm not sure that's a job he would want. I think he likes being on the field, likes the interaction with the players. The GM is very
GM
much a
college.
Business. Yes,
he is
the
businessman.
And in the NFL, you've
Well,
got
the
to
NFL,
have,
he's the top dog. In the college GM, the head coach is still the top dog.
But your GM has got to be the business guy. That's the business side of it. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe Terry Smith would say, if I can help Penn State in that way. I think he likes that interaction with the players. I think he likes coaching them up, like being on the field.
Did you hear my theory about James?
And no.
Like, James is the definition of a player's coach. Like, he's friends with the players and wants to be their buddy and stuff like that. So it gets tough when you're there, when you're the head coach. I get it, but now you're the GM and now you're in charge of their money, the kids' money. And how many relationships have you seen in this world, in the history of this world, get blown up over money? I mean, it's James. Like, I recruit you, Jeff. You're my guy. This and that. Your second year here, it's time to get paid, and this and that. And I lowball you. There goes the relationship between you and me. It's like it's tough. I say this because Bill O'Brien was talking at one time about he hated being the general manager because he couldn't be a football coach anymore. He had to be a business guy, and he had to worry about money, and he had to be worried about this, and all he wanted to do was coach football and be with the guys and stuff like that. But yet, so-and-so is holding out. Brian Cushing's holding out, and he's mad at me. He don't like me because I don't want to pay him as much as he wants and stuff like that. So I really think that really played in on James with the guys playing for him. when he was in charge of the money the last few years, again, as the micromanager that he is self-admitted, not that he was in charge of all of the money, but he definitely had his finger was on everything that went on at Penn State football. And I just think that a lot of stuff soured because of that. That's my theory.
Yeah, I think he was pushing to get the money. I'm not sure.
I know, but you're trying to also. You have $1 million, and you got to spread it around 100 guys. You're gonna piss somebody off eventually. That's just where I'm at, where I feel, because I've been in situations where there is the money aspect of it, and there, again, I think everybody in that locker room knows what everybody's making, man. That's the crazy part about it. And there's definitely when you get in the NFL locker rooms or any professional locker room, you start getting into, well, I'm doing all the work here. I'm the starter. Why is this guy in the backup making more than me? And it develops a lot of angst and animosity amongst players, and then amongst the general manager and the staff.
Another option: give Hartline the head coaching job, have Meyer be the GM, keep Smith, fire the rest of the staff, start over new.
I'd like to keep Ty Howell.
Again, you're presuming people want these positions, and I think you may not be right about that. If this program is going to get to the top again, one exception of Smith, all coordinators, assistants, position coaches gone, new staff, new direction. Tap into that Ohio State program for offense. Can't beat them, join them. Preseason polls will forever be useless. Winner should be crowned 94 national champions. That would boost attendance and TV ratings. Worst case scenario, hire a Drinkwitz, Diaz, Rule, Brom, keep 75% of the staff, run it back with bad player development, play calling, fourth quarter collapses. And again, that's the beauty of everybody has an opinion. Everybody thinks that they know how this will play out in the various scenarios. And the truth is, none of us know. And we won't know how 90% of these scenarios would play out or more, because there's only going to be one head coach, so we can play out what we think would happen under Drinkwitz or under Terry Smith or under Brian Hartline, and only one of those scenarios is actually going to happen, and then we'll see how it plays out. People will make predictions. Whatever will happen, and then we'll have the "see, I told you" from either side. Either it'll be successful, and those that say, yeah, Drinkwitz is the guy, yep, I told you, they're successful, and those, or it won't work, and I told you Drinkwitz wouldn't be the guy, should have hired person X, and we don't know if person X would have been any better
exactly
to begin with.
How do we know Brian Hartline could be a great head coach? How do you know that?
We don't know any of these things, and and again, all of this is educated guesswork. Different staffs, by the way, you go back, that Cleveland Brown staff that had they should have been winning Super Bowls left and right, right? With Saban and Belichick and
Kirk Ferentz.
Well, how come they weren't winning Super Bowls? All of that. A bunch of things have to come together. So the idea that, nobody on this staff knows how to coach. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Again, if you hire somebody new and they bring in their staff and it works, great. But there's a lot of coaches and a lot of programs that know what they're doing, that are really good at their job, that will never get the credit for being as good as they are, because either they don't have the resources, they don't have the right rest of the staff around them, all of the things that we keep talking about that come into play. It's not just a head coach. You have to have an administration that is, we'll do what we need to do. A bunch of different things that need to come together. And even with all of that, you still need a little luck. You need a break to go your way for a championship season. I'm talking about if you're going to get to a national title. Yep, you've got to have the right coach. You've got to have the right coaching staff. The other side of that, though, also is, like, do you think every coach on every national championship team, boy, that was a top-line coach? No. There have been some assistants on some of those teams that it's like, yeah, we won despite them. Well, nobody. He has a national championship ring. Yep, does. Right place, right time. But that's the other thing, is it doesn't automatically mean that, yes, you were a great coach. You were a great part of it. So I think we need to be careful sometimes in the way we analyze stuff. And that's all of us. I just think we presume to know more than we do. And I just think with this situation, Pat Kraft has to make the decision that he thinks is best for the near term and, again, long term, 4 years, success of the program. And I think there's a bunch of different ways they can go. I just think you have to be comfortable and confident as an administration, as a coach, that, all right, this is the plan. We've talked about it, Goon. There are so many different weight training programs and conditioning programs, and you have some people that will tell you, well, this is absolutely the way to do it, and others that are diehard believers. I am one of those. I think there's different ways to get to the same point, but you have to have belief that what you're doing is going to work. It starts there. You have to trust whatever the system is. Just like there are different offensive systems, defensive schemes that work in football. It's not that there's, well, you better run this offense and have this this style of quarterback or you can't be successful. Well, no. Like, again, different ways to get to the same end point, but you need to be confident and comfortable with what you're doing and be able to portray that confidence and belief to everybody in your program. And I just, that's the same thing when it comes to the coach here. So I'm okay if they go with an Eli Drinkwitz. I'm okay if they go with a Brian Hartline. I'm okay if they go with the Terry Smith. I kind of would like to see how that would play out.
We're going to support no matter what. But, but it just drives you crazy that the fanatical, the far fringe guys on the way outside, if you don't hire a huge named guy, you wasted money, you did this and did that. Everybody has their 2 cents on social media. Again, you and I are in the same boat. I trust Pat Franklin. I trust Pat Kraft and what his decision is going to be when it comes to this next head coach.
Yep.
100% trusted him.
Kick it around some more on the other side. Also talk some other Penn State sports. Big win for the hockey team on Saturday night after the Friday night game and the previous weekend. Good start to the Penn State wrestling season this past weekend. And the Philadelphia Eagles continuing to run away with the NFC East, and the Steelers continuing to try to hold off the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC North. We'll talk about all of that and more as we continue with our Tuesday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show here from Quaker Steak and Lube.
This region is known for its winding forest roads and scenic wild beauty. And there's one vehicle that's as rugged as Happy Valley. It's the Kia Telluride from Lion Country Kia. Hurry in now and check out the all-around rugged 2025 Tellurides. Lion Country Kia has the spacious 7-seater SUV with as low as 2.99% financing for 60 months or a $1,500 Kia finance rebate. There's 19 Tellurides in stock ready to go, starting at only $43,145. Be sure to check out the entire Kia lineup at Lion Country Kia. There's 91 new Kias available. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Who trusts Lion Country Kia? Mitchell Messenbrink trusts Lion Country Kia. And you should too. Lion Country Kia. 1334 Dryville Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you
Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again.
The Fox,
your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox State College. The Goon and Ironhead.
And back here on a Tuesday afternoon. Earlier, we were discussing how many people would be in the stands. I don't know about anybody else, but I'll be making the trip again on Friday from Central Florida. That's impressive.
That's
4 and 6 or not, I will be in the stands. Yeah,
that's Mr. Rob. He'll be up.
I think there's a lot of I'm talking more about the students. Listen, it's not going to be a packed stadium. We're not going to have
it never is for senior day and Thanksgiving weekend. It's just, I hate it.
Well, yeah, it's not. This will be the week before Thanksgiving weekend, but yes, because of the Thanksgiving break being what it is now.
Ugh. Now,
see, when we were in school, we didn't get that whole week off, so like you would have had, the students would have been here, and for a night game, even 4 and 6, senior night, and all of that, I think students would show up. I am really curious. I don't know. I've kind of gone back and forth on this. The weather at the moment looks like it could be, it'll be chilly, but I mean, it's not going to be, it's looking like Friday night is more the night with precipitation potential and issues there. So the weather doesn't, for a night game in November, it does not look like it's going to be all that bad. And so
very light wind, which is the key.
Yeah, I think people will show up in good numbers, not great numbers. And I think the folks that are there, I think they'll bring the passion.
You've heard me say this in the
I think
past.
they'll be fired up.
You know how we have like military Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
Where if you're not going to use your tickets, you can donate them back. And then the military. Why don't we do this for like local families? I mean, I'm saying local. I mean, from Altoona to Harrisburg. You mean bring them in?
Yeah.
I just get them some cheaper tickets, and they're not going to sit there and get pay the $300-$400 a ticket and stuff like that. Let's get some new fans involved.
It'd be nice.
You've heard me say this for 5 years now, man. Like they do it for the military, but the ticket's already paid for. Penn State's not going to make any more money either way.
Right.
You want the stadium full? Get a bunch of little kids in there, young kids.
Yeah.
Teach them to learn how to love Penn State.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I will be curious to see what the stadium looks like, and in particular the student section. I expect it'll be a good crowd.
I mean, I have a ton of people coming in. I mean, granted, Johnny Butler is the D coordinator, so it's a lot of guys that we grew up with are coming in for the game for the weekend. But I think that if Johnny was there or not, I think that people would come to the Penn State Nebraska game to end the season. I mean, it's our last time to rock and roll until April, so let's do it. Well, if you don't throw in the hockey game in January.
Well, and with Matt Rule coming back too. I mean, there's certainly a strong Penn State and State College contingent. By the way, tomorrow morning, if you get the chance to listen to our Let's Talk program that I do with Scott Giese, weekday mornings from 8 to 10 here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox, and you can stream it at 987thefox.info. Denny Rule, Matt's father, will join us tomorrow morning from 9 till 9:30-ish, maybe a little after, but we'll talk with Denny Rule about Matt's progression from State College to Penn State and throughout his coaching career. It's pretty neat. Denny leads a prayer session. I think it's every Tuesday. I think it's today with the players there. I think it'll be an interesting discussion. So Denny Rule, Matt Rule's father, again, will join us tomorrow morning from Lincoln to talk about
so
Matt
him and the wife moved out
experience.
there.
Yeah.
Did they really?
Yeah. Wow. So again, that'll be tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
Shameless plug, Ironhead. It's a very nice one. Good one, though. That's a great get. Mr. Rule's a great guy.
The Penn State hockey team needed that game Saturday night, Goon. It was like, oh, man, this has been a brutal stretch here. Now, admittedly, against the top two teams in the country, but they lose in overtime and then lose the second game pretty handily at Michigan State. Then they get just crushed. I mean, Michigan just took it to Penn State Friday night, 7-1, and the Nittany Lions responded very, very well and really dictated the play on Saturday night. So I think a really encouraging win for the Nittany Lions in that game. And I think it sets the stage. I have a couple of games here with Minnesota this weekend out in Minneapolis before they hit the break, and then they're off until the new year here after the two games this weekend. And, of course, last year they came back off the break and just caught fire.
No other sport is like that.
Ended up in the Frozen Four. Well, we'll see if they can have if they have a similar type of run this year. Look out because, again, they certainly have the talent to contend for a national title this year. But I just thought really encouraging the way they responded to what was a really tough loss at home on Friday night.
Sure was. I mean, and that's their, Michigan and Michigan State have turned their rivals on the ice. Going out to Sparty and losing those two out there, 1-1. Got the point out at Michigan State, but then coming back here, Michigan just blowing their doors in on Friday night. But then the recovery, the rebound coming out there on Saturday and getting that win, the second game, huge.
Yeah.
So go back to my question. I mean, I don't know. Do other sports shut down? I don't recall. I mean, wrestling has wrestling tournaments over the holidays, right? Where hockey has like a 3 or 4 week window off.
Yeah.
I wonder. I'd love to ask Guy, what did the guys do? Did they go home? Do they stay here and practice? I mean, is it like a little bit of a layoff type of thing? I never even thought about asking him that. But yes, a huge win for them coming back. Number two team in the country. Definitely a much needed win. And then, like you said, they're going to go into this little break. You want to go into the break with a little bit of momentum, and then that's where the transition happened last year. Was they could not win a game before the holidays, and then they turned it on after that.
Yeah, and Penn State basketball, Goon, I think again doing some good things. That there are bumps coming. we get it. But I do think you're seeing some really good things here that are cause for optimism for the future of the program. There is some talent on that roster. There's no doubt about it.
They went down to Philly and smoked LaSalle, which is where my older brother had played. So I talked a lot of junk on Saturday for that game.
There you go.
I said, you bring that city basketball back down there. You don't come up here and play in Big Ten territory, baby. Woo! My first and only ever basketball trip. But it was a good game for them going down there. And, Mike would probably do better with the no-name team. Yeah. He has his stars. Domingo is legit, right? I mean, that's one of the top-ranked players they're going to get here.
And they got this kid out of St. Louis committed for next year. So, yeah,
he's got it going, man.
Yeah, I think this is, again, I'm expecting they are going to take some big-time lumps over the course of this season, especially when they get into the Big Ten with some of the inside play. The interior defense needs some work, no question about that. But you can see the building blocks here, and this thing, I think if they just stick with it, a year or two here away from being something that can be really special here.
I agree
for Penn State basketball.
I ain't going to be for lack of work from Mike. Mike is a hustler. Mike is a worker. He's going to go out there. He's going to find the guys. And if he doesn't have them this year, he will find them next year.
Yeah, I think he has them. They're putting some things together. Again, you have a lot of overseas players. It's a work in progress. It's going to be a work in progress all season long. But what I do think you've seen here through these first 4 games, a little more cohesion, a little more understanding of, oh, this is what this guy can do. Oh, this is what I can do. This is what I need to do. This is what I don't need to do. Like, I think the players are figuring it out. The coaches are obviously figuring it out and helping them. I think they're going to be competitive in the Big Ten. I think, probably lose more than they win this year in the conference, and maybe by a good bit. But I think this thing is coming together. I really do. And I think with the talent they have, they just stick with this, keep believing. Maybe it'll come together even earlier than we're anticipating. But I really think over the next year or two, they could really become something very special here in the Big Ten. Speaking of very special, Penn State Wrestling opens up with a 45-0 win over Oklahoma at the Jordan Center. No PJ Duke and no Josh Barr. I don't think Barr will go this weekend. I think sometime in the next week or two. And I'm guessing here that may be the same case with PJ Duke. Duke is just, again, it was a long freestyle season. He was up at a higher weight, and I think they just want to be smart about getting his feet under him with classes, getting the weight down without making it a huge burden and a point of emphasis, all of those things. So PJ Duke is going to be fine. I think they're just they want to be smart about the way they manage him here in the early stage of his collegiate career. But it is nice when you have Tyler Kasak redshirting, PJ Duke, you're just easing into the lineup. So what are we going to do? Oh, you throw in Joe Seeley out there to fill in for you, or you throw in Connor Mirasola to fill in for Josh Barr. Not too bad when your backup is getting a major decision over the 8th-ranked wrestler in the country at 197, or Joe Seeley is providing a technical fall for you. I will say the Ohio State team did watch a couple of their matches at the national duels. That is a really good Ohio State team. Really good. And they've got the mindset. I think it is a Penn State-like mindset where they are out there trying to score as many points and as big a points in the team scoring as they can. When Buzakis had the opportunity to go for the pin, boy, did he capitalize. When they have a chance to get a major decision, they're going for it. They're going for the technical falls when it's out there. There's not a lot of, let's rest and coast to the victory here. So I was really impressed. I thought Ohio State was going to be good. I'm not sure I thought they were going to be quite as good as what they looked this past weekend. That is a really, really good wrestling team. I'm also encouraged for them that Nick Feldman, their heavyweight, when he is healthy, and he's just been through a lot on the injury front, he had much better movement than what we saw a year ago. He is as tough as they come. But if you can't move the way you're used to moving, you're limited in what you can do. I think he's, I don't know that he's 100%, and just I don't know that he'll ever feel completely great physically. But he clearly, whatever they've done to get him feeling better, I think is clearly working. And I thought he looked really good, and I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with there at the heavyweight division.
What do you feel about the coach talking?
As far as the national duels are concerned, and listen, there's a lot of discussion, and I am a proponent of the national duels. I like the concept, not as a replacement, and there does seem to be a faction in wrestling that it's like, well, that should be the real national championship. It shouldn't. My opinion, and a couple of reasons why it shouldn't. One is when wrestling is at its best, you have two guys going out there wrestling their best and trying to lay it on the line. In the dual meet format, that doesn't always happen. It does always happen in the tournament format. And why that is if you are trying to win a dual meet, okay, and let's just say it comes down to the final bout and your team is ahead by 4. Well, your team is going to win the duel as long as you don't give up a major decision. Well, if the other guy is really good and you're not as good, what is your mission? Your mission is to keep it close. So you're not going out there trying to win, right? You're going out there trying to keep it within 7 points so that your team wins the dual meet. That can make for less exciting wrestling. Exciting in terms of the team race, and hey, can they get the major decision? Yep. But in tournament wrestling, you're not doing your team any good unless you get a win. And so you're going to go out there and try to win no matter what. And that usually leads to more open wrestling. That's if you're trying to win a bout versus, hey, I'm going to try to keep this guy from scoring. Well, that's a different element. So that's one part of it. I think wrestling sometimes just does not take advantage of or recognize where it has its strength. And the NCAA tournament, no matter where it's held every year, is sold out and gets good TV ratings. It varies. I mean, again, not NFL ratings. I get it.
Well,
but good.
It's
ratings.
Building. It's definitely growing.
They get the stands filled.
Yep.
One of the things that Tom Ryan, the head coach of Ohio State, and others keep arguing is we need to grow the sport. And I don't disagree with that. But the argument is, well, how you grow the sport, Penn State sports fans in America like team events where we support our teams. And so the dual meet is a team event. Well, yes and no. So what happens at the national duels is you have multiple wrestling meets going on at the same time. And so that makes it, again, if you're an Iowa fan and Iowa's wrestling, you're watching Iowa. Well, you're not watching this terrific match over here between Oklahoma State and Ohio State or whatever it may be. Right? You're watching your team. So I don't know that you're really growing. You're already an Iowa fan.
Yeah.
You're there watching Iowa. I think the intent is good. I do think that the heart is in the right place. I do think having the financial incentive, the $1 million that was on the line for the various teams, I think that's good. There were a couple of things that came into play. I know Cale is getting criticized in some corners, and not that it matters to him, the criticism. But, man, Cale just cares about his team. He doesn't care about growing the sport. Listen, if he didn't care about growing the sport, Penn State would not have gone to Boston University when Boston made the decision to drop the program to try to help show that athletic department, hey, look, when you have a big-time match, you can fill the stands here for this sport. It is a sport that it can have a very positive impact, all of that. When you look at the schedules over the years, Penn State tries to go to different parts of the country. They try to get out west at least once every 4 years. They try to do it kind of every other year. And so they go to an Oregon State, or this year we're going to a Wyoming. They've been to Utah Valley. We wrestled at Bakersfield. So they're trying to help those areas by, hey, we know we're the biggest draw in the sport. When you have the number one team coming in any sport, it's going to help the draw. And again, hopefully create some interest in your program. And hey, this is what this could be like moving forward. So I think it's just an unfair and inaccurate criticism. Penn State had 7 wrestlers compete at the U23 World Championships. That is an elite competition.
What, 2 weeks before?
The college season, right, begins less than 3 weeks later. And to have another premier event where you are wrestling multiple times over multiple days, I don't think part of your job as a coach is the well-being of your athletes, taking care of your athletes. And I mean, you can argue it, but I don't think there's much of an argument there to say that is asking an awful lot of these guys, many of whom also had other competitions, big time, world championship competitions over the course of the summer. There is only so much you can ask even a young human body to do in terms of the training. So I always liked the national duels when they were at the beginning of January, and they were a standalone big event. You didn't. I don't think many people at least looked at it as, hey, this is a national championship event. It's just, no, this is a really cool event. Opportunity to get a lot of the top teams together and have some really fun dual meets. And they crown a national dual champion, but I don't know that anybody looked at that as an end all be all, nor should they. And so I think this was a neat event. I think it was, as a wrestling fan, I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. I thought there was a lot of intrigue. I'm not sure you're growing the sport when you are bringing 16 of the best teams in the country together, and you're getting 2,600 fans, I think I saw in the stands. Well, folks, that's you're not now. I don't know how many people were tuned into the stream. I know I was. I know a bunch of my friends were, and I get, there are basketball tournaments at the start of the season that also, Chaminade, and I get it. There's not a lot of attendance, and there are a lot of viewers. So I'm not saying it has to be a huge attendance or it's not worth doing. Not my argument. But to me, a couple of things that I think, my perspective, would improve it. I would rather, first of all, get away from the push to make anything other than the NCAA tournament the national championships. The NCAA tournament, again, is a tremendous draw, both viewership-wise and attendance-wise. Run with it. That is your go-to right now. You have that locked up. You can continue to grow it, continue to improve it, but you got it. And part of what makes that fun, and this is what the national duels can't do, I don't think, is, again, if you're taking the top 16 teams, and the argument is we're going to grow the sport, well, how many of those 16 are going to be the same teams year after year? It's going to be about 12 to 14. You're not getting a lot. So if I am a fan of, I'm not trying to pick on any school out there, but if I am a fan of Clarion or Lock Haven Wrestling, and you're having this big event that I'm never invited to, well, you're not growing the sport for me. And Penn State is going to draw. Iowa is going to draw. Oklahoma State is going to draw. Those, you're not growing the sport for those schools. To me, make it in January and maybe take it to different parts of the country where high school wrestling is big, like Texas, like Florida, and you don't have Division I programs collegiately. And what I would do is take just like 4 teams, 4 or 6 of the top teams, and then bring in a couple of Division II or III programs that are from nearby, have them wrestle a match, bring in as many high school and elementary school kids as you can. Give those tickets away. Give them the opportunity to come see a big-time college wrestling match in their backyard in Florida or in Texas or in Georgia or some of these other states, even California, some of the other places out west, even if there's a college team or two in the state. But take it to places where you can grow it. I like that they got the finals on ESPN too. I think that is a big deal. I think getting an event that is on ESPN or ESPN2 is also helpful in terms of trying to grow the sport. Maybe tie it in with a UFC fight. Maybe you have let's have a Bo Nickel fight or a couple of fights and on one of the nights. And hey, this is part of the wrestling culture as well. This is what it can be. I just think there's some ways you could make it an even bigger event without trying to detract from the national championship and without having wrestlers have to decide in some cases between, hey, do I want to go represent my country in this big event or do I want to go represent my school in this big event? And, again, I get that you can do both. But again, to me, you're asking an awful lot of these kids in terms of what you're putting them through physically.
Do the Ohio State guys
to do that?
Do the under 17, under 23, any of those tournaments?
Oh yeah, they've had a bunch of guys do very well. So I think that's again something that is worth continuing to discuss. I think different folks can have different opinions. I think that's fine, but I think you also need to understand everybody associated with the sport wants to grow it. It's just maybe different ideas about what is best in terms of ways to go about growing the sport. Take a break here. We are back with much more. It is our Tuesday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show.
This region is known for its winding forest roads and scenic wild beauty. And there's one vehicle that's as rugged as Happy Valley. It's the Kia Telluride from Lion Country Kia. Hurry in now and check out the all-around rugged 2025 Tellurides. Lion Country Kia has the spacious 7-seater SUV with as low as 2.99% financing for 60 months or a $1,500 Kia finance rebate. There's 19 Tellurides in stock ready to go, starting at only $43,145. Be sure to check out the entire Kia lineup at Lion Country Kia. There's 91 new Kias available. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Who trusts Lion Country Kia? Mitchell Messenbrink trusts Lion Country Kia. And you should too. Lion Country Kia. 1334 Drabble Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again,
The Fox,
your sports radio.
broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
Again, Penn State and Nebraska, Saturday night, 7 o'clock kickoff on NBC at Beaver Stadium as the Nittany Lions look for 2 wins in a row and look to get head coach Terry Smith his first win as head coach at Beaver Stadium after the victory in East Lansing last weekend.
So I had a couple comments about that.
Yep.
I actually asked the O-line, and I feel bad because it actually became a question. I texted Dawkins, and I was like, what was heavier, the statue or Terry?
Oh.
And then somebody in the post-game presser had already asked him that, so I felt like I was already it is what it is.
They
but,
beat you to the punch. That is a monstrosity of a trophy.
Little bit. Yeah, but Terry, I'm just very, very happy with him. Very happy.
Yeah, no, it was cool to see the emotion
yesterday
at the press conference as he talked about the significance of for him of being head coach, sitting in that chair, and the feeling he had getting the Gatorade bath and being carried by the players on the field, and all of the
good job
congratulatory messages that he received.
With the bath?
It was a double bath.
That was a hell of a bath.
It was double bath. Terry
they went
Smith.
back with they went back with the purple drink twice.
Yeah,
they got him good, man. He didn't see that one coming the first one. He just got drilled with it.
Yeah,
oh, man.
Yeah, it was good stuff, fun stuff, and now
it was
back to the grind. And again, we'll see how this finishes up. We'll see what direction Penn State ultimately goes. It's fun speculating. We'll continue to do it. Again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We can make all of the arguments for and against, and everybody will continue to do that. And we should need to keep this guy. We got to get rid of that guy. It's going to play out how it's going to play out. It's not going to matter what any of our opinions are. Pat Kraft isn't listening to you or me. He's not listening to the message boards here. And no matter which direction they go, again, I think it's kind of a 50-50 proposition. It could work out. I really hope it does. I keep saying I think the odds are better that it doesn't work out. When I say work out, I mean win a national championship within 5 years, get to the Final Four within the next 3 or 4. No matter who it is, it's just that is really hard to do in this world of college football. I think Penn State has a lot of things in place. I think Pat Kraft is going to work his tail off to make it happen. I think whoever they hire will do the same thing. I think they'll put together a good staff, and I still think it's more likely than not that it doesn't go the way everybody's hoping it goes. But again, that's what every team is trying to do, every program, and it only has worked out for a handful here over the last decade. So, yeah, and just to follow up on that, like Lane Kiffin, if he does go to Florida, and that seems, I would say, likely now. Like, does that feel like automatic? Florida will win a national title here in the next 3 or 4 years. Could it happen? Yes. I mean, I'm not saying definitively forget it. Lane Kiffin has no shot. But, again, Georgia and Alabama are still in the conference.
We got to rewind this a little bit. Somebody was talking to me about Blue Bloods a couple months ago. And they're like, you take away Spurrier's 3 or 4 year window there, where he was there for a good decade, but there was only about a 4 year window where they were just dominant. They won 1 national title. And Urban won 2.
Yeah.
You take those 5 or 6 years away.
Well,
I mean, but historically, has they been a dominant program? No, because they have to play Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, LSU in the SEC. I mean, they are not. Yes, they have a great facility. They have a great recruiting grounds, is what they have. So that's why they're considered such a high pick. But I was like, it was a pretty good point that somebody had made about them not being a super, an old school blue blood is what we would know it as.
Yeah. When you're talking about attractiveness of a job, though, there's a lot going for it. Now, it also depends on how you look at it. And that's, one of the interesting things to me about James Franklin to Virginia Tech, because I've already read some things that, I guess James Franklin gave up on trying to win a national championship. Well, listen, winning in the ACC is different. I'm not even going to say it's easier necessarily, because you have to win bigger in the ACC. There's not the margin for error that there is in the Big Ten or the SEC. But, yeah, there's also not the top-end competition to get there in the ACC. But you still got to beat, at the moment, it would be, your Miamis and Clemsons and Florida States of the world. So it's not like, he steps in and it's automatic that they get to the playoffs. But I do think generally speaking, year in and year out, that path to a conference title is easier in the ACC than it is in the Big Ten or the SEC. Now, they are making a commitment at Virginia Tech. They have gone out and solicited and secured a substantial investment in the program, and they are bringing James Franklin in with the idea that, they want to contend for a national title. Now, how you define contending, like if you win the ACC and you get to the playoffs and you get bounced in the first round every year, does that qualify as contending? I don't know. They may get tired of that after a couple of times. Yeah. But right now, they sign us up for it. If you're the Hokies, beats the losing record and the struggles that they've had in recent years. What I think is really going to be fascinating to watch is the recruiting battles with Virginia Tech and Penn State moving forward here in the next few years, especially in the DMV, but just in general. And, to me, that starts with what does James Franklin's staff look like that he puts together here in Virginia Tech, and how much of this is going to be a Penn State redux where, and when I say staff, not just coaching staff, I mean the overall staff. And I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing predictions all over the place. And again, just like who's the next head coach going to be, we can all speculate, and then we're going to see how it actually plays out. I think Penn State is still the bigger name brand right now. And I think Penn State, whoever it brings in, is going to maintain a very strong presence and will more than hold its own on the recruiting front. But do I think Virginia Tech is likely now going to steal some players that Penn State would want? And already, again, you're always going to lose some recruiting battles to some teams. Ohio State and Penn State go after the same players. Michigan and Penn State, all of these schools. So, you're going to lose some. Do you maybe lose a few more? Maybe. Here is the thing. I actually spent some time, and I didn't bring it with me because I'm an idiot. But I spent some time because we were discussing, I think it was last week, Goon, the importance of Pennsylvania recruiting and keeping kids in state here at home, meaning at Penn State. And maybe not just Pennsylvania, but Pennsylvania and the neighboring states, that immediate footprint. And I said, well, I don't discard that's important on some level. Also, it is just more important that you get top-end talent in from wherever it is. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think it's as important that, hey, we need at least 6 players on offense to be from Pennsylvania, as it is, hey, we need 8 or 9 players on offense that are high-end Division I players that can develop into potential NFL stars if Penn State is to try to win a national title. And, I made the comparison with the wrestling program. And again, all of these teams now, it is national recruiting. And so, yes, do you want to get, it makes sense that if a kid grew up as a Penn State fan, they're a Pennsylvania kid, and they're an elite prospect, by all means, you want to get them in here. And I do think there is I think you want to have that presence on your roster, even if it's not starters. I think having that Pennsylvania feel, if you will, and that hometown pride or homeschool pride, I think that's an important factor to have in a program. I don't know that you need a specific number of guys. And I went back because Penn State's wrestling roster now is from all over the country, has been since Cale came in. And it's the one thing, there were a lot of people that told me when Cale came in, now you'll see Ironhead, that the problem with Sunderland and even with Fritz, we just weren't keeping the Pennsylvania kids at home. Now you're going to see all of these kids stay here. And that is not what happened. Penn State is getting its fair share, but they're not getting more Pennsylvania kids than they did. In fact, I'll have to go back and look at the roster. I think they're getting fewer of the Pennsylvania kids than they had previously. But they're not getting any Pennsylvania kids. They're getting a few year in and year out. But what they are doing is going out and getting the best of the best from all over the country. Sure. And so you have, 3 kids from Wisconsin on the roster right now. You have, Bo Nickel previously from Texas. You have California represented. You have Alabama on the roster right now. So they are going out and getting the best kids they can that fit the program and that are elite wrestlers from all over the country. And I think they only have 2 starters right now that are from Pennsylvania. And it's like, well, this is Penn State. Yeah. Pennsylvania has the best wrestling in the country. Only 2. Yep. But they have 13 wrestlers on the roster. 13 out of the 30 spots are Pennsylvania kids. And I get that's not half, but it's not insignificant. By far, Pennsylvania, the most represented state, not surprisingly, on the Penn State roster. But again, they are going. So I do think you want somebody that can recruit well in Pennsylvania and the surrounding states. But more importantly to me, Goon, and where I do think James Franklin, for as good as he was at recruiting, if Penn State is to take this next step, and this is much easier said than done, and I don't know that there's anybody out there that I would say, all right, that guy, and then you get these 5-star prospects with regularity. But if you're going to win national titles, if that is the objective, it does start with you've got to get more of those elite of the elite, the truly can't-miss prospects that Ohio State, Alabama, and Georgia are bringing in every year. I'm not saying you have to beat those schools on every kid every year, but you've got to make better inroads than what Penn State has on that front, to me. And again, that's easier said than done. It's not that James Franklin wasn't trying to go get those guys. Yeah. It's not that every program in the country isn't trying to go get those guys. Yeah. But you need somebody somehow that can go, all right, we're not only going to try, we're going to get some of those guys in here on a regular basis.
I got 2 things, and that was the Joe Paterno 5-hour window. You dominate 5 hours from State College. It gets you all upstate New York, maybe into Boston a little bit, down into West Virginia, into Virginia, Western and Eastern Virginia also. So they get you into Ohio, and that was a huge thing for Joe. And then you pick and choose where you get your other guys from. He had a couple guys from South Carolina historically, Bobby Ingram, Ray Roundtree, Wally Richardson, a lot of guys from the beach, but some Florida guys, some Texas guys. But, majority is that 5-hour window. That has changed. I saw that Urban Meyer had a speech the other day. He was talking about since the migration of the steel mills, now that it's the Rust Belt, that he said Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, and Penn State, 70% of their rosters were from that Rust Belt area. But now the jobs have gone, so those kids are gone. They're down in the South. That's where the migration has happened. They're in the DMV. They're down into the South. So you have to expand your recruiting a lot of it. But you still got to dominate home. I know that James had said that for decades. We dominate the state, but I don't think we did at times. We definitely didn't with any kind of skill players. So, and that'll change. I mean, hopefully it'll change. Who knows? I mean, if Terry is kept here in a position, what if he's a recruiting coordinator? He knows the areas. He knows. I know he's from Western Pennsylvania, but he recruits the Philadelphia, Jersey area now. So the other one we have to keep on is Ty Howell, another alumni, another Letterman. He is recruited the Delmarva, the DMV area, and he is pumping NFL players out of that tight ends room. So there's at least two guys, Deion Barnes, Danny Connor, both Letterman. Who do we try and keep? Do you try and keep Troutwayne at the offensive line position? And again, it all goes back to who the hell we hire, and they're going to bring their own guys in and fill in from there.
Yes, and so this is where I do think this timing becomes a factor, and it's just that, a factor. But if Pat Kraft is putting a priority on keeping a Ty Howell, and I agree, you'd like to see him stay. You'd like to see Terry Smith stay. I think Terry is going to hang in there. I don't think but like Ty Howell, if he is off, if Penn State doesn't have a coach after the Rutgers game, and James Franklin says, Ty, I got offensive coordinator job open. You ready to come take it? Like, it's pretty hard for Ty to say, no, I want to be loyal here and see what happens at Penn State, right? Like, because there's a pretty good chance, and he knows it, that if he waits, James Franklin may hire somebody else, and Penn State may say, yeah, it was nice. Thanks for everything you did. See ya. Well, so this is, and again, I don't think any of these decisions should be done because, oh, man, we could lose this guy or this could happen now. Like, this has to be, hey, if I'm Pat Kraft, I'm looking at the overall picture. I'm targeting the guy or maybe a couple of guys that I think it would be the person to get us here. And if I need to wait this out and we need to sacrifice some guys that we'd like to keep around here, but because long-term I think this is our answer, then you need to do that. But if you do think like Terry Smith is your guy or Brian Hartline and that keeping like Poindexter or some of these guys, like that's going to be part of the equation, I think you need to be having, and maybe they're having those conversations now, right? And like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is who we're talking to. You need to keep this quiet. Like, there's just a lot of different things in play here. But again, I don't think you need to get caught up in, well, we have to do this or we're going to lose this recruiting cycle. You need to make this right. You need to get this right as you possibly can. And if that means, again, you lose out on a recruiting cycle, boy, that stinks. But like, more important to get this right than to do something because, all right, this saves us over the next 2 weeks. We don't want that to happen. This has to be about big-time vision for 2-3 years down the road. Now, if you can make it happen next year, all the better. But, again, I don't think you need to rush into a decision here now if you've waited this long, because all of a sudden, here's a signing day. No, you can't hire somebody because, we got to get somebody in here for a signing day. And, man, we really wanted Hartline, but and he would have been the best fit, but we were going to lose Ty Howell to and that's going to be the hard thing here is no matter how this plays out, there are going to be some disappointing components to this. I don't see any way around that. Nope. All right. That is going to wrap things up for today. We will be back on Thursday. Folks, have a great rest of your day. Until Thursday, be good and be safe.
This region is known for its winding forest roads and scenic wild beauty. And there's one vehicle that's as rugged as Happy Valley. It's the Kia Telluride from Lion Country Kia. Hurry in now and check out the all-around rugged 2025 Tellurides. Lion Country Kia has the spacious 7-seater SUV with as low as 2.99% financing for 60 months or a $1,500 Kia finance rebate. There's 19 Tellurides in stock ready to go, starting at only $43,145. Be sure to check out the entire Kia lineup at Lion Country Kia. There's 91 new Kias available. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Who trusts Lion Country Kia? Mitchell Messenbrink trusts Lion Country Kia. And you should too. Lion Country Kia. 1334 Drabble Street, off Shiloh Road, behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again,
The Fox,
your sports radio.
broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox State College.
The good